The mother no one wanted. The space station was always loud. Machines hummed. Shuttles landed. People talked in many languages. But to Nerea, it felt silent. She stood alone in the crowd, holding her child close. Her daughter, Lila, was 5 years, old, small, with soft golden eyes like her mother. She clung to Nerea's leg and looked up with hope. "Did we get the job, Mama?" Nerea didn't answer. She just smiled. A weak, tired smile. This was the 4th station they had tried. Nerea was from a species called the Teveri, peaceful, kind, and once respected. But after the war, the Teveri lost everything. Now, no one wanted to hire them, especially not single mothers, too weak, too emotional, too slow. That's what the others said. Nerea had cleaned cargo bays, served food, fixed old wires. She had done anything to keep her daughter fed, but every job ended the same. "Sorry, you're not the right fit." That day, she stood in front of the station hiring board, heart pounding. The alien behind the counter didn't even look up. "You have a child?" he said. Nerea nodded. "Yes, but I can work double shifts. She can stay in the care unit." The alien snorted. "Next." She opened her mouth to beg, but Lila tugged on her arm. "Mama, I'm hungry." They walked away slowly. Nerea had 3 credits left, just enough for half a meal. She sat in a quiet corner near the recycling bay and gave the food to Lila. "I'm not hungry," she whispered, lying. A human walked past them. He had grease on his hands and a data pad in his back pocket. He saw the little girl eating and the mother staring at the floor. He stopped. Nerea didn't notice him at first. Then he spoke. "No one helping you?" She looked up quickly. No. It's okay. We're fine." He crouched. "You've been turned away from every booth on this level. I've seen it." Nerea nodded slowly, afraid. "I'm not here to hurt you," the man said. "I'm Daniel. I run maintenance in Sector 9. She blinked. "The human sector?" He smiled. "The human sector, yeah. Not many jobs left, but one's open." Nerea leaned forward. "What kind of job?" "Rough one," he said. "Filthy. Hot, hard labor. Bots break down doing it." She swallowed. "I'll take it." He raised an eyebrow. "You didn't even ask the pay." "I'll still take it." The next morning, Nerea arrived at Sector 9. The walls were old. Pipes hissed. Lights flickered. This was where the station dumped everything no one wanted to fix. Daniel gave her a suit and gloves. "You'll clean out the core vents. 1 hour per tunnel. Don't touch the blue wires." Nerea nodded. She didn't ask questions. She just worked. The tunnels were dark, tight, and full of dust. Old grease stuck to her fingers. Sparks jumped from loose wires. Machines roared around her, but she didn't stop. When her hands shook, she kept going. When her knees hurt, she kept going. When her back screamed, she still kept going. All she thought of was Lila, sleeping safe in the care pod Daniel helped her register for. That night, she came back limping. Lila opened her arms. "Mama!" Nerea hugged her and smiled. "We got the job." In the shadows, Daniel watched. He didn't smile, didn't clap, just nodded. "She's stronger than most of my crew," he whispered to himself, and he made a note on his data pad. The other workers laughed at her. "She's just a cleaner. She'll quit in a week." Humans always feel sorry for the weak, but she didn't quit, and Daniel didn't feel sorry. He saw something different. He saw a fighter, a job meant for machines. The next day, the tunnel was hotter. Steam hissed from every corner. Dust hung in the air like smoke. Pipes groaned above, her head like metal monsters trying to wake. Nerea crawled on her hands and knees through the narrow passage. Her cleaning tool sparked. The battery flickered, but she didn't stop. She couldn't, because outside the tunnel, her daughter Lila was waiting, safe in the station's care pod, fed, warm, dreaming, because of this job. Above the tunnels in the break room, the other workers sat laughing. "She's still down there?" One alien scoffed. biting into a protein bar. No way she makes it through the third cycle, another said. Those bots couldn't do it, and they had 6 arms. They all chuckled. Except Daniel, the human engineer sitting at the corner table. He looked at the monitor showing Sector 9's live feed. Nerea was still working. No breaks, no help. Just sweat, grit, and focus. At hour 4, her hands started to bleed. The gloves had torn. The wires were sharp. The tunnel shook as a cooling fan burst behind her. Dust slammed into her face. She gasped, fell back, coughed hard, but then crawled forward again, 1 inch at a time. She reached the end. The vent light turned green. Cycle complete. Later, she returned to the cleaning station, arms trembling. Daniel handed her a drink pouch. You finished the tunnel? She nodded, barely able to stand. He stared for a second. You're the first to do it in 1 try. She sat down slowly. Because I had to. Daniel didn't ask more. He didn't need to. The next day, he upgraded her. Gear didn't tell anyone, just replaced the tools quietly. A lighter suit, better gloves, a stronger scraper. When she noticed, she looked at him, confused. You didn't have to, she said softly. Daniel replied, neither did you, but you still showed up. 1 week passed, then 2. She never missed a shift, not even the day Lila got sick in the care pod. Not even the night the tunnels flooded. Not even when the station's food prices doubled and she had to eat once a day. Nerea stayed, worked, endured. One evening, as she limped out of Sector 9, she passed 2 alien supervisors. From the main floor, they watched her like a strange bug. Why do the humans let her work here? One said, not knowing she could hear. The other replied, because they don't care who you are. They only care what you can do. Back in the sleeping pod, Lila touched her mother's fingers. Mama, your hands look like robot claws. Nerea smiled through the pain. That's how strong they are. Lila giggled, then rested her head on her chest. And as the little girl drifted off to sleep, Nerea whispered, I will not fail you. In the corner of the sector, Daniel watched again. He saw the way she carried herself now, not proud, not angry, but unbreakable. And he remembered a woman just like her, his mother back on Earth, who once scrubbed metal floors with bleeding knuckles. He closed his datapad and decided, it's time to teach her more. The day she collapsed, the morning began with silence, not the peaceful kind, the kind that comes before something breaks. Nerea moved slower that day. Her arms ached like metal beams about to snap. Her back felt like fire, her feet numb. But still she showed up. Still she entered the tunnel. Still she smiled at Lila and said, be brave today, my star. And then she vanished into the dark, again, alone. Hours passed. Sector 9 buzzed with work. Sparks flew from half-fixed panels. Pipes hissed above. Dust settled in her lungs. Inside the tunnels, Nerea dragged herself through heat and steam. Each motion felt heavier than the last. But she kept going because she always did. At hour 6, the heat spiked. A coolant pipe burst 3 sectors away and the temperature inside her tunnel jumped 20 degrees. No one noticed. Except Daniel. From the monitor in his office, he saw it. Her hand slipped. She blinked twice. Then, she dropped. The screen turned red. Alert. Life sign. Fading in Sector 9. Daniel didn't wait. He dropped his tools and ran, through corridors, down lifts, across steam-filled walkways. When he reached the hatch, he tore it open with his bare hands. The tunnel inside glowed red. He crawled through the heat, smoke stinging his eyes. And then he saw her, Nerea, face down, motionless. Her body curled like she was trying to protect something. He pulled her out with all his strength. Her suit was torn. Her arms were burned. Her breathing shallow. He carried her to the medical bay. The nurse looked up. She's Tivari. No insurance? Daniel snapped, bill it to me. Hours later, she opened her eyes. White lights above, cool air, and a blurry figure beside her. Lila, she gasped. Daniel's voice replied. She's safe. I picked her up myself. Nerea's eyes filled with tears. I didn't want to stop, she whispered. Daniel sat beside her. You didn't fail. You pushed past your body. That's not strength anymore, that's self-destruction. She turned her head away. I just wanted them to see I could do it. They already do, Daniel said. They just don't want to say it. She closed her eyes. Then what's the point? Daniel stood. The point is, not to prove them wrong. He paused. It's to prove your daughter right. 3 days passed. When Nerea returned to work, something had changed. The other workers went silent as she entered, even the ones who once laughed. Because now, she walked like a legend. And Daniel? He wasn't just watching anymore. He started teaching. After shifts, he showed her how to read wiring maps, how to manage coolant cycles, how to handle system resets, not just physical labor, leadership. Why are you doing this? She asked once. Daniel answered, because someday someone will need you to lead this place. She laughed. Me? He looked serious. You've already done more than any of them ever could. At home, Lila hugged her tightly that night. You look happy, Mama, she said. Nerea smiled. I'm tired, baby, but yes, I think I'm finally seen. In the corner of the sector, one supervisor watched her, and he didn't like what he saw. Not a cleaner, not a worker, but a threat. Why he hired her. The lights in Sector 9 flickered again. Same old wires, same broken relays. But everything felt different now. Because Nerea didn't walk like a cleaner anymore. She walked like someone people noticed. For the first time since she arrived, other workers greeted her. Some nodded, some smiled. A few even asked her for help. And slowly, the fear in her chest started to feel smaller. After shift, Daniel stood beside her in the control room, showing her how to track power usage through the station's main grid. She leaned over the monitor, eyes focused. This part, he said, pointing to the map. This tells you how much energy each sector is using. If one spike goes unchecked, the whole system burns out. She nodded slowly. So one mistake can ruin everything? Exactly. Then she looked at him. But why show me this? Why not train one of the others? Daniel leaned back, arms crossed. Because they don't care like you do. She stared, then asked the question that had been in her heart for weeks. Why did you hire me, Daniel? He didn't answer right away. He turned to the panel, switched off the screen. Then quietly said, do it because I know what it's like to be invisible. Nerea blinked. What? Daniel sat on a bench. His voice was steady but low. My mother was a cleaner too. Back on Earth. She raised me alone. No one respected her. They laughed, ignored her. But she was the strongest person I ever knew. He looked at Nerea now. And when I saw you holding your daughter in that hallway, I remembered her. The room went quiet. Nerea sat beside him. She didn't speak, but her eyes said everything. Daniel continued. She died when I was 17. Heart failure. Too many years of overwork. No rest. No one cared until she was gone. He clenched his fists. I promised myself. If I ever saw someone like her again, someone still standing, still trying, I wouldn't ignore it. He looked at her. I'd give them a chance. Nerea felt something warm rise in her throat. She looked down at her hands, still marked, still calloused, but now, holding more than pain, they held purpose. I don't know what to say, she whispered. You don't have to say anything, Daniel replied. Just keep going, she smiled. I can do that. But outside the glass wall of the control room, someone was watching. A tall alien with pale gray skin and cold eyes. Supervisor Tranix. He watched Nerea laugh, watched Daniel teach her things far beyond her role, and he saw what was coming. A Tavari worker becoming a leader? No, that would break the rules, and Tranix liked the rules. The next day, a message arrived on Daniel's console. Nerea's position is under review. Formal complaint submitted. Station hierarchy breach. Daniel slammed his hand on the desk. She's done nothing wrong, he muttered, but he knew how these systems worked. People like Nerea were always punished first. That night, as Nerea tucked Leela into bed, the little girl asked, "Did you fix another machine today, Mama?" She smiled. "Yes, but tomorrow, I might learn how to run the machines." Lila's eyes sparkled. "Can I do that too one day?" Nerea paused, then kissed her forehead. "You'll do more." But outside their small room, the review was already in motion. The same people who once ignored her now saw her as a threat, and they were about to make their move. They tried to fire her. The notice came early, a gray message on her datapad screen. Report to Sector Command. Review of status. Active pending termination. Nerea stared at the words for a long time. She didn't blink. She didn't cry. She didn't move. Because deep inside, she had known this day might come, not because she failed, but because she succeeded. She walked into the Sector Command office wearing her dusty worksuit and a badge that still read Maintenance Level 3, Human Division. Inside, 3 aliens sat at the long table. Cold eyes, stiff posture, fake smiles. Supervisor Tranix sat in the center. "You've exceeded your authorized tasks," Tranix began. "Your training in systems far above your pay grade. You've caused confusion among the crew. We believe you're becoming a distraction." Nerea stood tall. "I only fixed what was broken, isn't that my job?" Tranix leaned forward. "You were hired to clean pipes, not lead teams, not manage power grids, not take over roles meant for qualified engineers. And yet," she said softly, "I did all of that." The room went silent. Tranix's fingers twitched. "Your contract is terminated, effective immediately." He pushed a tablet across the table. "Sign this, and vacate human sector by sundown." Behind them, the door opened. Daniel walked in. "No," Tranix stood. "You are not authorized to interfere." Daniel cut him off. "I promoted her last night. Filed it with Earth Command. She's now Assistant Sector Supervisor. Her contract's protected under Human Leadership Authority." Tranix's face twisted. "That's a joke." "No. What's a joke is how many workers you've ignored, silenced, and burned out, not her." Daniel turned to Nerea. "She's better than all of us." Tranix slammed his hand on the desk. "She's not qualified." Daniel smiled. "Then let her prove it. Right now." A siren blared across the station. "Emergency in reactor room 2. Power core unstable." Tranix looked around in panic. "Dispatch engineering." But Nerea was already walking out. Inside reactor room 2, sparks shot from a broken relay panel. The heat was rising fast. The energy readings blinked red. Technicians stood frozen. No one knew what to touch. Nerea took one look and moved fast. "Isolate the third coil," she shouted. "Redirect backup flow to coolant channel B." They obeyed. Not because she ordered them, but because she knew what she was doing. Within minutes, the core lights shifted from red to orange, then green. The room went quiet. The station was safe. Tranix arrived just in time to see the readings stabilize. Daniel stepped beside him. "She just did what your engineers couldn't." Tranix didn't answer, because there was nothing left to say. Later that day, Nerea stood in front of the Sector Council. A new badge was placed in her hand. Assistant Supervisor, Sector 9, Engineering. The same people who once ignored her now nodded respectfully. But she didn't smile for them. She smiled for the little girl watching from the hallway window. Lila, who whispered, "That's my mama." The child with big dreams, the hallway. Outside Sector 9's command room was quiet. But behind the thick glass window, a little girl stood with wide, glowing eyes. Her name was Lila. And today, she wasn't watching her mother clean tunnels. She was watching her mother lead a team. Inside, Nerea pointed to a blueprint on the wall display. We need to replace the cooling array before the next cycle. I'll take the west vent. Bren, you, take the intake core. Move fast, we only have 23 minutes. Aliens and humans nodded, grabbed their tools, and followed orders without question. Once they laughed at her. Now, they followed her. Lila pressed her hands to the glass. She looks like a commander, she whispered. Behind her, Daniel crouched, down. That's because she is one. Lila turned, smiling shyly. Do you think I can be one too? Daniel nodded. With a mom like that, you might be even better. That night after work, Nerea returned to their tiny living pod. She opened the door and froze. The lights were off, silent. Then suddenly, surprise! Lila jumped out wearing a cardboard helmet, 2 glow sticks taped to her arms. Nerea laughed for the first time in days. What is this? I made a commander suit. Lila beamed. Because one day I'm going to build Starship and teach aliens, and maybe even run a sector. Nerea dropped to her knees and hugged her tight. You already run my world, she whispered. Over the next few weeks, Lila joined a junior learning group run by human educators. It was a program for children of workers, a place to grow, to think, to dream. At first, the others didn't know what to make of her. Tevari children didn't usually speak much, and most had left after the war. But Lila? She wasn't like most. In just a month, she learned basic galactic trade language. In 2 months, she started solving mechanical puzzles faster than kids twice her age. By the 3rd month, she had designed her own imaginary ship and named it Star Hope. One evening, Nerea received a message. Your daughter has been selected for the Human Tevari Youth Exchange. First of her kind to be nominated. Her hands trembled as she read it aloud. Lila smiled quietly. I told you I'd fly one day. Meanwhile, across the station, not everyone celebrated. Supervisor Tranix read the same report, his jaw tightened. Now she wants to raise the next generation too? He tapped his data pad. This ends before it spreads further, but something had already started. Not rebellion, not war, but something stronger. Respect. Back in Sector 9, Daniel watched as Nerea trained 2 new recruits. She doesn't even need me anymore, he muttered with a grin, then paused. Or maybe she never did. And inside a small pod, a little girl drew a starship on her screen. It had wings of gold and engines shaped like blossoms. On the side, she wrote in neat handwriting, designed by Lila, for Mama. The mother who changed the station, never had statues before. It was a place of wires, work, and war scars. Not history, not beauty, not memory, but that changed today. In the central atrium, where thousands passed each day, workers now gathered. Humans, aliens, children. They came, not to fix, not to clean, but to remember. In the middle of the open hall stood a small statue. It wasn't large. It wasn't gold. It was simple. A woman kneeling beside a small child, holding a wrench in one hand and the child's hand in the other. The plaque read, to the ones who were never seen until they stood up. Dedicated to Nerea of Tevari. Nerea stood quietly at the back of the crowd. She didn't like attention. She never asked for thanks. But today, she let herself feel it. The weight of the moment. The truth of it all. Her story had once started. In silence, now it echoed in every corner of the station. Beside her, Daniel whispered, You earned this. She shook her head gently. I just worked. He smiled. Exactly. Across the hall, Lila was surrounded by her new classmates pointing proudly. That's my mom. A human teacher turned. She's more than your mom now. She's a part of history, Lila beamed. She was always that. Later that day, as Nerea returned to Sector 9, she passed Supervisor Tranix. He didn't say a word. He didn't need to, because now he worked under her. Nerea didn't gloat, didn't laugh, didn't even slow down. She simply walked the same way she always had, with quiet strength. By month's end, Nerea had launched the Interspecies Worker Alliance, a program built to train, support, and protect workers from every background, especially single parents. It was approved by Earth Command in record time. She didn't ask for power, but she used it well. And one day, years later, when Lila stood on the launch ramp of her very first real starship, the real Star Hope, she turned to her mother and said, "Everything I am, I learned from watching you." Nerea didn't cry, not until the ship left the platform. And she whispered, "Fly farther than I ever could." On that station, and many others like it, her story would be told again and again, not just as the worker who survived, not just as the mother who fought, but as the one who changed everything by never giving up. The end.